Now we're going to talk about playing through the command cycle. This is the meat and potatoes of the game. This is probably the most important thing for you to understand. A command cycle is broken up into two parts, the initiative round and the command round. The initiative round is going to determine the initiative order that all the Lannisters in the bout are going to execute their command round in. Now, during the initiative round, I'm going to take my initiative die and my ratio die, and I'm going to roll them. The way initiative works in Nexus is it's first determined by your trait die. Instinct comes first, followed by deafness, followed by cunning, and then the other three traits are tied for fourth. So the first thing you do is you go through and you resolve it in that order. If there are any ties amongst that, then you look to your ratio die, and the highest value on the ratio die trumps those ties. If there's still a tie, if someone rolled the exact same initiative and the exact same ratio value, then you're just going to have a roll off between those two players. Each one will grab 2d6, you'll roll, highest value wins. Once you've determined your initiative order, you're going to take your ratio die and you're going to lock that in on your initiative tracker. Let's say I had second initiative for this command cycle. I'm going to find the 2 over here and I'm going to lock my die value into the 2 spot. Then, once I'm done doing that, I'm going to update my trait counter. Whatever value I rolled on my trait die, I'm going to increase that value by 1 on my trait counter. Now that we've determined initiative order, we're going to move on to the command rounds, and we're going to take those in that initiative order. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to update my turning point counter and execute any related actions. So to update my turning point counter, I'm going to take 1 cred coin from the crowd pile, and I'm going to place that in the number that I rolled on my ratio die. I have a 5 on my ratio die, so I'm going to put this in the 5 slot on my turning point counter. When placing the coin into the turning point counter, a couple different things may happen. This could activate a hazard if there were already a coin there. That would be called the turning point duplicate, and that may spawn a floor saw or floor spikes to appear on the board. So I would then grab my location die along with my directional die and roll to see where on the board that happened. I would play that action out, and then I would come back to finish the rest of my turn. The other thing that may happen when you place this coin here is it may create a turning point, which means each one of these slots from 1 to 6 become filled with a coin. And if that happens, I'm going to draw a turning point card, and I'm going to execute any actions that it tells me to do on that turning point card. Once I've resolved whatever that is, I'm now free to spend my command points on movements and actions. Now, before I do that, I need to declare how I'm going to spend this ratio die. Like I said, I rolled a 5. So I can do 5 actions in 1 movement, or 1 movement and 5 actions. A movement can be something as simple as just moving your helot forward or rotating. An action is going to be things like attacking another helot, breaking open a box. Now, rolling a 5, I'm obviously at this stage in the fight going to want to use it on movement. So I'll move my helot 5 spaces forward. I'm going to have 1 action point left over. That's probably not the best idea. But what if I did this? 1, 2, 3, 4 movement, and then I use that 1 action point to kick over this brazier and light the floor on fire. And then I've still got 1 movement point left, so I'll rotate so I can be facing this helot over here. You can spend your movement and your action points in whatever order you like. They don't have to be spent all together. You can move a couple steps, attack, and then continue moving. The important thing is that you try to spend all of those points. Now, you have to declare how you're going to spend these points before you actually go through and move them. So once I declare that I'm going to spend 5 on movement and 1 on action, the other Lannisters do have the opportunity to use a deception token. If I don't spend all of those points, any unspent points are going to aggravate the crowd, and they're going to start throwing things at me like feces or broken bottles. If you don't spend all of your command points, you're going to suffer a penalty of 1 cred coin per every command point that you don't spend. Those cred coins are going to come from your cred pile. If you do not have those available in your cred pile, they'll come from your overall condition. So, at the beginning of the fight, rolling that 5, if I were forced by someone using a deception token to use all 5 of those points on action, my helot would essentially be stuck not being able to spend those points. And having no cred in my cred pile yet, I'd lose 5 of my helots overall into the crowd pile. Something else to remember, command points do not carry over to the next command cycle. If you don't spend them, you lose your overall, and that's the end of the story.